Sorry.
What if I told you that millions of dollars are being made off of you, but you are receiving absolutely none of it? You're putting in countless hours of hard work, and the non-profit organization is making millions of dollars off your likeness and image. Well, this is happening to every single collegiate athlete in America by the NCAA. Many of the athletes are barred from even having a part-time job. These issues show that the payment of the collegiate athletes is an issue that needs to be addressed and resolved. The NCAA, or the National Collegiate Athletic Association, makes $1 billion annually, but not a single cent of the money ever makes it to the pockets of the athletes. In an article written by Dr. Justin D. Garda, he talks about how over 80% of the NCAA's annual generated revenue is made from the men's collegiate basketball tournament, or March Madness. He also states that the NCAA's annual revenue has nearly quadrupled since 1998. An article written by Alan R. Sanderson states that out of the 126 institutions for the FBS, the 2013 median salary for a head football coach was $1.9 million and $1.2 million for head basketball coaches. An excerpt from an article written by Rich Hoffman says, "Coaches have never made money and leagues have never generated more television revenue. Meanwhile, the players, especially in football, never have been under more financial pressure." In an interview conducted by Lourdes Garcia Navarro, an unidentified man states, "I see my name being used to profit somebody else," when asked if he thought the NCAA players should be paid. Many of these athletes receive a full athletic scholarship. In an article written by Pete DiPrimo, he discusses what it really means to have a full scholarship. He says that a full scholarship includes tuition, books, and room and board. What is not included is clothing, meals, transportation, or entertainment. As a result of this, athletes can be left worried about food and transportation. Coaches or even boosters of the university are not allowed to help these athletes, as this is a rule violation of the NCAA. Many of you might say, why don't they just get a job then? In the previous article written by Dr. Justin D. Garda, he states many colleges and universities prohibit student athletes from holding part-time jobs because work could potentially diminish the athlete's energy. So on top of the NCAA refusing the athletes compensation for their likeness or image, the athlete's university will not let them pursue a job. The combination of these two decisions can be harmful for these athletes, especially the ones that come from low-income families that cannot provide money. All these issues can be solved easily by the payment of college athletes. The solution to the problem is simple: the payment of college athletes. There will be less athletes worrying about how they will pay for gas or where their next meal will be. There will be less sporting programs suffering because NCAA penalties from a coach or a booster lending a player money or letting a player just sleep on the couch. I've come up with 3 ways that these collegiate athletes could be paid. The first payment is by sport. This would work by setting a fixed pay for each specific sport. Second is setting a fixed pay for all college athletes. The third is a more complex idea. It is developing a grant or system similar to the Pell Grant. An athlete's family that had a lower income would receive more money than the athlete's family that is wealthier. This gives more money to the athletes that need it the most. None of these solutions come without skepticism. A major question is, who will pay the athletes? I believe there are 4 main candidates for this. The universities, the athletic conferences, the NCAA are all 3 of them. I believe all of them is the best choice. Splitting the pay up 3 ways will help each financially. Another question is, will the men's and women's sport be paid equally? I believe the 3 solutions I have presented either equally pay the athletes or fairly distribute the money to those who need it the most. I think these 2 are the most substantial questions in this issue. One of the greatest reasons people do not want collegiate athletes to be paid is because they believe they are still amateurs. Well, I do not consider the athletes that are finding ways to eat and to transport themselves amateurs. Imagine these athletes not worrying about finding a warm meal and worrying more about their education. Imagining these kids not getting arrested for trying to steal food or stealing money for gas. Imagine these athletes focusing more on being a student athlete. You can help these kids, and you can fight for them. Start a petition or meet with your state legislature to discuss these issues. Do not let these kids worry about food. Let them worry about their next test instead.